The African Development Bank at its ongoing annual meeting celebrated Africa Day by honoring the African Union, which turned 60 on May the 25th, 2023. It was on May 25th, back in 1963, that 32 heads of independent African states met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, along with leaders from African liberation movements to craft a way forward for Africa's complete independence from imperialism, colonialism, and apartheid. The AFDB also hosted a youth dialogue under the theme Africa's Youth, Africa's Development Answer, to mark the special milestone. One of the participants was particularly happy to be wearing his native attire from Morocco.
Before I start my word, I would like to thank the African Bank Development Team, not only for the invitation, but for making us dressing in our local attire. This is my first time attending a conference with the Moroccan Djellaba, and I can tell you that I've never felt this comfy in my entire life.
Here's what AFDB President Dr. Akinwumi Additional had to say about Africa's youth before the dialogue began.
If we think and we know that the young people are our best assets, then invest in our young people. As I travel around Africa, I'm asked from country to country, we have a youth empowerment program. We have a youth empowerment program. That's fine. But rarely do I have a young person walk up to me and say that I've been empowered. I don't believe that what they need is empowerment in that sense. What they need is investment. We must start investing in our young people. There'll be new financial institutions all across our continent whose job would just be to support the businesses of young people, to turn their ideas into great businesses.
The youth dialogue was very engaging, with some strong opinions expressed by the entrepreneurs, particularly on access to finance.
In my experience, when starting our business, I got more support from outside of my country than I did at home. Until today, I haven't been able to access a loan from within Tanzania, but I access a loan from Rabobank in the Netherlands, and that needs to change.
We here on the panel have decided to bet on the continent, regardless of the challenges and the obstacles. It is important for international financial institutions, for example, the African Development Bank, that is inviting us here today, to bet on us because, like my brother Fahad said, and I've been privileged to share a lot of panels with Fahad, it's surprising that for over, 5 years the bank has been inviting us. We are yet to be funded by banks in our countries or even by the African Development Bank. But personally, I have received hundreds of thousands of funding from foreign investors. And tomorrow when these people sit on our boards, would you say I didn't want to work with an African financial institution, or would you say I preferred a foreign investor?
It's that when I first started my business, I went asking for a loan in a local bank, and among the conditions that they had put is that I should have at least 2 financial exercises. One of them is beneficial, and the second condition was that I should propose guarantees. Through those 2 conditions, and looking at many young entrepreneurs, either in Morocco or in Africa, I think that the bank should take a step further in order to change their way of assessing risk.
Every country in Africa, in Europe, government always say, we cannot create jobs, especially in Africa. I'm making it easier for you. You leaders, the minister, the president. I'm creating right now for Andela Wine, I've employed a lot of young people. Rushaka Wealth, I've employed a lot of young people. So if I'm making it easier for you, the government, why can't you fund me? I'm not going to buy a luxury car with that money. I'm not going to buy a luxury house. I want I'm creating a generational wealth. Again, I want my business to be able to run in my absence. How did people, we all know iPhone, the founder, how did he start it? So if you're looking down upon me, how am I going to be a successful leader and a successful businesswoman? Let's not look down upon people. Because tomorrow I'm the one who's going to be hiring your grandchildren and your children.
I want to say 2 things here. One, I'm not sure if the CBE governor is still here, but in Egypt, we have a model of finance that was a campaign done specifically for SMEs that are working with industry. And I think it's a very interesting model, because what is terrifying here, as Monique said and Fahad, and which I myself have seen, is when foreign investors come in, that's the new way to colonizing us, because it's not going to be in the land anymore. This is other people that don't belong on the continent that are being part of the business, being part of the revolution happening. And as much as we'd love the transfer of knowledge and technology, and I myself, don't get me wrong, I love the Dutch, but you're not keeping it inside. And there's no build-up of knowledge happening when it's always foreign investors coming to the rescue and no local investors actually understanding the risk and having fun with it. That's the difference. They see it as an adventure, as a ride, when the locals don't.
And the team for a wonderful work.
After the dialogue, pictures were taken and it was time to enjoy some culture. First, from musical bands from Egypt with a very enthusiastic Egyptian crowd showing their support. Then the audience was invited on stage to show off their cultural attire from each region of Africa.
You can't miss them. We are here. Up the stairs. Mr.
Thank you.
Wait, go back. Was that guy wearing a suit?
Yes.
Absolutely ravishing in your African attire on Africa Day.
Color, culture, heritage, history. The African Development Bank celebrated the African continent in style on Africa Day at its annual meetings. From Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, Rhoda Sodiri, Arise News.